All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Mac and Jenn Evolution podcast. And last week we talked about, kind of previously going to New York, and we just thought we would kind of chat about it a little bit and go over a few things and some of the fun stuff and some things we observed and kind of why we did it in the first place. And just, yeah, we'll just have a little fun with it. So, Jenn, what was your favorite thing about New York?
My favorite thing about New York, I think, was spending time with you and Cameron in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that for me, the thing I enjoyed the most was just being able to like give him the experience, you the experience, and be there with you and enjoying it,
hmm
and seeing a few things that I hadn't seen before. So that was cool.
hmm
So, and what what was the most fascinating thing about New York for you?
Um, the most fascinating thing was maybe the people.
The people? What
hmm
was it about the people?
Just all different kinds of people, like people from everywhere, different nationalities, different backgrounds, just different people, different than what we're used to in our little towns in Colorado.
Yeah, a lot of like just a lot of foreign languages being moved around us all the time, constantly.
I really enjoyed watching like Cameron's reaction to New York
Mhm.
because I think like he was the reason why we went. He's the one that really wanted to go, but I think that I don't know what he was totally expecting, but I know it wasn't everything he expected, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a little bit of this is like not you could tell it wasn't quite what he expected.
hmm
So
Yeah. After the first day, he said to me, I think New York is like a 1 day thing. And I was like, dude, we haven't even done anything you want to do yet.
yeah, we're just getting started.
Like all we had gone to was I think Times Square at that point, but he still wanted Central Park, he still wanted the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building.
Yeah, we only made about half, maybe a little more than half of Central Park route. I was planning on walking to one end and then back the other end, and it just wasn't going to happen. And it was hot. It was like 90 plus degrees, humid, like humidity through the roof.
If
That
he wouldn't
was
have been with us, we would have been able to cover a lot more
mm,
surface in Central Park or all over, but um it was perfect. We did a lot, I think.
yeah,
And it was so fun because it was Pokemon Go Fest or whatever.
yeah, which is kind of weird, but
Why is that weird?
it's just I haven't even I've never participated in it.
No.
So my
Well, neither have I until
yeah,
he
well, I mean,
started.
even Pokemon, like I don't even really know what the concept, what it is. Like I see a little bit of what he does, and it's like a kid thing. But then you go to Central Park, or even walking there, and you start realizing that like the majority of the people around us were playing the game, right? Like groups of people, and not like kids. And some of them were older than me. And I'm like, what in the like? What's going on around here? And I don't know, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah. Like majority of the people around us were playing Pokemon Go
Yeah.
while we were there. And it's funny because you don't notice everybody playing it until like you're playing it. And then you start to see, you're like, oh my God, literally everybody's playing this game.
Yeah, it's not people aren't looking at their phones because they're trying to figure out the map on where they're going to go next. They're literally looking at their phones because they're looking at the next Pokemon stop. It's like, what the
And I'm showing Mac, I'm like, look at they're wearing the t-shirts, the hats, the backpacks. I'm like, oh, that person's playing Pokemon. They're playing Pokemon. They're playing Pokemon. And I remember the first time I noticed adults and like so many people around me playing, I was mind blown.
Mhm.
And so I can't imagine like for you to actually see it and like, because when you turn your reticular activating system on, when you're like, when you when you point something out, then you start to see it everywhere, you know? And so you were seeing it everywhere, and I was seeing it everywhere. And but it was fun. Cameron was having a good time with it, and I didn't really care because like I just was enjoying my time with you guys, my time being outside, seeing Central Park, watching the people. Like I it was fun.
Yeah.
Just we stopping every, you know,
Yeah.
however.
It's I don't know, I guess it was just fascinating to see that. And maybe there was a few more than normal doing that, but I guess it's a big thing. And there's I remember you looked up the population of New York. It was like 8.5 million. And
Hmm.
then the tourism, what was it, like
65 million a year.
65 million people through that city a year. So chances are, what is that? Like if you divided 65 by 8, roughly 64 by 8, but like 8 times. So every basically, like if you're probably around Times Square or one of the attractions, chances are that one or less out of 8 people are like one might be a New York person. The other 8 are tourists.
Hmm.
Like for every 8 people, you might have one actual New Yorker in the mix in New York
Hmm.
City. And obviously, if you go to the businesses or whatever, you're going to see them coming and going for business. But it's just it was that's hard to fathom that many people process through that place that often.
And I
But
asked you when I said why do so many people go to New York? Like what is the big deal about New York? What did you say?
I don't remember.
You said good marketing.
Yeah, good marketing.
It's good
First,
marketing.
first stop from Europe, but it's really the marketing, right? Because it's the Big Apple. That's
Yeah.
that's what everybody goes for.
The
Like they
city
go
that
see
never
New York City,
sleeps.
they turn it into this marketing thing, which is why Cameron was kind of a little bit like not super impressed because the streets are dirty. Typically, it's smelly a little bit. Like there are some clean streets and some that aren't. There was one street we walked down where, like, I don't know that if the dump service quit coming or what, but it was literally one side of the street was just lined with piles of trash that looked like it was actually put there to go to like be picked up, but it stunk and it was crazy. I was like, ugh. So I don't know. It's definitely cool to go and see. And there's a few more places I wouldn't mind, if we're around to go hit like we didn't go to the 9/11 memorial, which is like I mean, at some point it'd just be cool to see it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely think we'll be back to New York because in the since we've been together now, we've been to New York twice
Mhm.
together.
Yep.
And if we decide to go to Tony Robbins this year,
Mm,
it's in New Jersey.
okay.
But I imagine I will go back for some reason at some point for something for sure. But one of my other favorite things about being there was that Cameron and I pretty much held hands the entire time. And I said to him at one point, I said, "Are you like protecting me or am I protecting you?" And he was like, "We're protecting each other."
Mhm.
So it was kind of fun because like he actually wanted to hold my hand through the city. And so we like held hands and we were like, following you around and
Yeah.
yeah, it was
So
great.
they held each other and stayed safe.
Hmm.
The what was I thinking? It's I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of it's impressive what they've built there. But it's definitely not my style. What I did enjoy the last time I was in New York actually was the beach, like Little Northern. It was Jones Beach that we went to. Like I had no idea New York of all places had nice beaches like that, and we went there and it was cool. I enjoyed it. Stopped after for some breakfast in some little breakfast like cafe, small town feel. That was probably one of the better, more fun things I've done in New York, I think. So that was just something that we did.
Where were we for breakfast? Do you remember? It was like a little.
Yeah, I mean, we came out of Jones Beach and then we were heading towards JFK, but it wasn't far from there. It was just
Mm,
a little ways up, and then we kind of like got on the main road and then cut back over just this little hole in the wall type place, but amazing breakfast.
I love the little hole in the wall places.
Yeah.
We went to another hole in the wall place.
Oh yeah. On the way once we got back. Yeah. So within 24 hours, we went from New York City to Chugwater, Wyoming, which is 178 population. It's like a blink on the interstate. And there's this little cafe that's called the Soda Fountain. Right? Was that what it was?
Yeah,
Chugwater Soda Fountain, and they've
something
got
like
like
that.
one of the oldest like original soda fountain machines or something. And so just like one of my friends, he talks about it all the time. And so we're like, well, we'll stop. So we go in there and get a burger. And it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't something that like I've had better, but it's better than your average for sure. And then they had malts, and I love malts. So
It was just funny going from like New York City
mm,
with all those people and just the craziness to such a small like little town in Wyoming where it's like nobody there.
yeah, like 16 hours difference.
But I love all the experiences. So like I loved New York and I loved Chugwater, Wyoming.
Yeah,
Like I loved it all. I think one of the crazy experiences I think in New York was on the subway.
mm,
Um, we kind of almost witnessed a fight.
yeah.
Um,
Mm.
that was an experience.
Completely unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a lady with a kid in a stroller helping us because we got on one subway, and we were following these other guys from Puerto Rico, and they were like, yeah, we're going to JFK, and we're trying, and so we're kind of following them. We're kind of talking back and forth, and these two guys are actually doctors, and then I'm like, something ain't right here. My GPS isn't going the right direction, and you don't have much for service. And this lady kind of spoke up and helped, and she's like, no, you need to get off the next stop and get on the A train. And I started to realize kind of how the system works. And there was this older black guy on there, and he you tell he he was a little bit not sure what he was doing, I think. And so he was kind of asking for some guidance from her. And then this other gal gets on the train, like another black lady, and she is hot. Like when she stepped on, she was not happy. I could read her energy, and she was not happy. She's feisty. And this older guy, he's like asking for some directions and trying to help, and this girl just gets defensive, like, you need to back up, you need to do this, right, right. And he's like, why don't you mind your business, and she's like, I'll put a 4-inch hole in you, and just like goes off, and everybody's just like kind of backs off, like, let's not escalate this. And I'm just like, I hope I don't have to step into a freaking knife fight. But it was like wrong day for her. Like she was already triggered. The guy wasn't doing anything that was threatening to the woman. Like it was fine. And she just was like right, like getting in her bag, like she was gonna pull something, and just like, oh boy, like it was crazy.
And the lady with the baby just kind of like stood there. She didn't say anything,
Yeah.
which I felt was like just like clearly that wasn't her first rodeo on the
Mhm.
subway. And then like when she was getting off the subway, she said to the lady that was all heated, she said, "Have a better day." And I kind of loved that. But she said it in such a way that was like it was normal. Like it was like good. And Cameron and I were kind of just like sitting there and I was watching Mac and watching this and I asked Mac, if she would have pulled out a knife, what would you have done? What would you have done?
Well, what have I done?
Hmm.
Well, it depends if she was just going to flash it, or if she was going to actually try to attack. If she would have probably gone after the guy, I probably would have knocked her the fuck out. I mean, that's or something. I don't know, but I'm not going to watch someone attack someone for senseless reasons. It would have been completely, honestly, unprovoked. So yeah, I don't. She might have wound up with a broken arm, as far as I know.
Yeah, so it's just crazy though that like that stuff happens in New York all the time and like it's just kind of what they do there and like you don't realize I think sometimes like I don't want to say we live in a bubble but like
Yeah, it's a little. I don't know. That was probably Like we decided, well, we haven't taken a New York subway. Let's do it, see what it's like. Probably never take one again.
Well, it's like this, like I have the idea. I'm like, let's like, the thought was like, okay, Uber to the airport or take the public transportation. And my idea was like, it'll be an adventure. Like, I'm like, let's adventure, let's go. We can do it. It's way cheaper and like it could be fun. And so like I throw out the idea of the adventure and then I hand it over to Mac and I'm like, okay, get us there.
Yeah. Once we got on the right train, I think there was a stop we could have got off on before. And so we're cruising down the subway and basically we just go to the end of the rail and then get off and there's a bus stop. But when we got off, like we were in the ghetto,
It was scary.
straight up.
I
Like,
was like holding on to Cameron so tight.
yeah, it's like I looked around, there weren't really any threats, but it was straight up the ghetto. Yeah, like it was sketchy, like half the cars driving by are wrecked, like it's just the rundown part of the city. And so for me, I'm like, no, we're never doing that again. It's just like I will pay $100, $200 for a black car or whatever to take the trip. Like if I can't afford that, I don't need to be going on the trip as far as I'm concerned.
It wasn't awful though. I mean, it was a little sketchy, but it wasn't awful.
No, I'm glad we did it
Me
so that we know.
too. Now we have a
And
story.
the bus that picked us up wasn't that bad. I mean, it was actually decent. When we flew into New Jersey, we caught a train like an Amtrak. That was okay. Not my preference, kind of low vibration type thing. But like I said, it was like, let's see what it's like. Because if by some odd chance it's actually somewhat decent, it's in some ways easier. And for me, what's easier is if I get in like a taxi and the guy's like on the brakes, doing this and swerving, like driving a little, like I'll get sick. And so I'm
Mm.
thinking, if I can jump on a train, I probably it won't give me motion sickness. We can just do the steps. If it works, we'll see how this works, and then it won't be that bad. In my experience, I probably won't do it. Like I'll just get the right kind of car and driver and just roll with it and be done with it. So that was my take. I don't know what yours was, but
Did you enjoy your time in New York with me and Cameron?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it was hotter than Satan's balls to me, but it was like I still enjoyed the getting to take you guys there, especially Cameron, because I know for a kid to be able to go out and do that stuff, to go see the world, it builds confidence. It gets them to start believing that they can do anything. They see different people, like you're taking their like brain. Like look at it this way: their brain is so big, right? They're born, they grow up where they're used to living, and it's so big, right? So what they see around them is what they believe they can also achieve, what they believe they can do, and they get comfortable with it, and then you get them a little further, and it begins to expand, not necessarily their brain, but their reach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And reach with confidence will create success. And I'm not necessarily focused on success, but what I am focused on is not being repressed or like stunted in growth, like spiritually, energetically, physically, any of those things. And so when we talked about doing it, it was like, you said, well, Cameron really wants to go to New York. I was like, well, I guess let's just take him to New York. And then we decided on when and how and got it done. And I think we'll see great results from it, over the next, especially going into middle school. So not a lot of middle schoolers have got to go see the big city or other things that we're going to go do. And I like, what do you say you want to do next? Was it Alaska?
He said Alaska,
So, which I'm totally down
but
with.
I think he only said that because I don't think he was totally thinking though. I think he said Alaska because he was trying to think of the complete opposite of New York. Like he wanted
Well,
snow.
now he said it. So
No, Alaska would be cool. I've never been to Alaska,
me neither.
so yeah, but I feel like this year, um, well, I mean, really, I've always been trying to work with Cameron on his confidence and his mindset. And like, I think like most parents, like I really want him to like be happy
Mhm.
and love himself and live a good, like fulfilling, successful, happy life, right?
Yeah.
And um when his dad and I got divorced, I think like well, I mean, just being a kid in general, I think he's created stories in his head and he, like most people, doesn't always talk, say the best things to himself, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so really being more conscious about working on his confidence and like helping him to trust in his own ability to make decisions. And I can only do so much, like I try like I talk to him and we try to focus on gratitude and changing our mindset and um like but really I think since you've come into the picture it's definitely like this year has been his year.
Yeah.
And it's not just because like there's little things that you do to help him build up his confidence, but also just seeing like being in your energy I think has really helped him. And just like the things that we've done, like even taking him to Tony Robbins and now to New York. And like I said, like it's nice to see like we're not in this, there's more than just our bubble, right? I said that even for me, but even for them, like there's more to life and more to the world than, you know, video games,
Yeah.
right? His bubble in Colorado, right? And so it's just opening up his awareness and like I see these little things that we're doing and how you're helping him to boost him up and um like it's definitely like I see it like he's doing so good. I'm so happy with like where he's at now and where he's going and how he shows up and I only see it getting better and I've only seen it getting better over the last year and a half, 2 years especially like since you've stepped in to help out because I do my best, but I can only do, what I can do, and I can't teach him how to be a man.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
So, but I see him stepping into this like version of himself that is becoming more confident and like the fact that you do give him like a weekly allowance and allow him to just like spend that money however he wants and
Yeah.
like I think that's cool because it's like he's able to like just make decisions and take action and not always have to ask me, right? Or like
Yeah.
this is really good. So
He's getting better. He's just slowly getting better at asking for what he wants. Kind of
yes.
what like I want him to be able to ask for what he wants and then accept either a yes or a no.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's so rare that he asks, it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, hey, can I get $5? It's like, yeah, here. Like, so what?
He's scared sometimes to ask for what he wants, but I think that's just normal. Like we're all a little bit scared to ask for what we want. But if you don't ask for what you want, you'll never get what you want. And like I'm learning that too. And I think we're all kind of learning that, right? Like,
Yeah, which I think I'm gonna have I might have to like force him into telling us what he wants because we're very good at reading his energy and we'll be like, you want this? He's like, no. And then we give it to him and he wants it. Right.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but then we're enabling the the pattern of I'm gonna say no, but and I hope I get it. But then if I don't get it, I'm gonna be disappointed. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's like almost just being like, you want this? No, and then just blocking, like ignoring him until he's like suffering and he has to choose.
Mm.
So it's a bit of a it's going to be challenging for him, but I think it's very important for him to develop that skill now instead of trying to figure out when he's like 19, 20, 30, who knows when.
40, 50,
Yeah.
because I see people even in my world,
Mhm.
like older, even older than me, adults, a lot of us um that don't speak up when we want something, don't admit when we want something, and then feel a certain type of way when we don't get it.
Yeah. It's an expectation, but then we have this guilt, and then it's confusing. It's like, no, you just say what you want and then negotiate.
And even we build up like a resentment too. Like we don't speak it, but then we get upset when we don't get
Yeah. It's just
it.
like you could just like speak it and not care what anyone else thinks.
Speak it and then, at least give yourself the opportunity to receive it or not, but at least if you're allowing yourself to at least express what you want, you have the option. There's an option, right?
Yeah, and then it gets kind of weird sometimes when we're like taking our sweet time. And he's like, we gotta go, we gotta, and he's like pushing us. Like we went up the Empire State Building, and he was like, next step, and he's like almost pushing us or dragging you like to the next thing or through the gate, or and it's like, dude, just chill. We can just hang out up here.
Hmm.
And so, which by the way, um, I don't. So the first time I went up the Empire State Building, there was a line. We had to wait. So this time I bought the express pass. Absolutely pointless. It was a waste of money. I spent like an extra $130-$140 for this express pass, and there was nobody hardly there. Like once we got up top, it was a little crowded, but you could wait a few minutes and you'd get a good view or good time. And but we were also up during sunset, so that was cool. There's some pictures I think Jane posted on.
The express pass though actually got us down quicker.
Oh, absolutely. It did because they like slipped us right in.
They're like, "Oh, you're express? Okay, this way."
Yeah.
To get down. Other people were waiting to get down.
Yeah, that
So,
probably actually saved us probably 30 minutes right there.
so I don't know
Yeah. So,
if that was worth
but
it.
the one thing that I do kind of like about it is I like spending money for luxury, right? And I also like doing that for you and Cameron,
Mm.
right? Like it's like no, this we're gonna do this because it's luxury,
Hmm.
which I like. It was hard for me to even agree to the train and the subway and stuff, because it was like, no, we're getting a black car SUV. Let's do this. Like, right, we
Mhm.
$150. Like, that's how I like to do it. But it was like, well, I haven't experienced it. It would be an experience. Like, okay, let's do it. And so we got the full blown, the crazies, the easies, the dirty, the all of it. But
And it was fun and it was an experience. And so I appreciate the luxury so much, but I also love just making like memorable moments,
yeah,
whatever that
there's
looks
there's
like.
some people I know that's like that's just how they want to roll.
Hmm.
Like they're more uncomfortable in a black car than they are in the subway. Like that's how.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're trying to save money. I mean, Subway's way cheaper. It was what, like, how much was
three
it?
bucks,
$3 a person.
something like that. Yeah, it was stupid.
So that's like, okay, $10 for all three of us to ride the subway versus $140 for an Uber.
Yeah, I think it was like
It's kind of a big
the
difference.
the well, and then there's a bus ride. I think total it was like $40 for for all of us to go
I mean, we almost got
versus
stabbed, but I'm just
we
kidding.
didn't. Yeah, that's saving the $20. Yeah.
It was fun though. I appreciate the experience. Like now that we've done it though, we don't have to do it again,
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, and the hotel we stayed at had good food.
Hmm.
That was nice.
Hmm. I had fun, or it was nice that Cameron like one night wanted to stay in and have pizza in the hotel room, kind of like alone. And so it gave you and I a chance to go have like a little date for fun. And so we went down to the restaurant and we had dinner. That was really
Had
good.
some really good New York cheesecake.
We had dinner. Then we had one really good cheesecake.
Mhm.
And then we remember we walked outside, went over to that little cafe thing and got more.
Grape,
Got a crepe.
very very grape or
And
whatever.
then Cameron started calling us like, "Where are you guys?" But he was up in the hotel room and he had his Nintendo Switch, he had his phone, he had the TV, he
Pizza.
had a pizza, and I think he was in that moment, I was thinking about it today actually, he that was his Home Alone experience. like
Yeah.
in New York at the hotel with a pizza.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's the whole reason he wanted to go was from that movie, Home Alone 2.
That's where it all
Yeah.
started. Mm-hmm.
So, but there's definitely a lot more to see. Like I've driven in New York and I didn't mind it. It's just like if you're gonna park, a lot of times it can be a challenging, or you better valet, and not everybody has a valet, so that can be a different thing.
We didn't really need the car. I mean, like it was not, so we flew into New Jersey. It wasn't that hard getting our way from New Jersey to Weston Times Square. It wasn't that hard. We figured it out. Everything we did in New York was within walking distance from the Westin.
Yep.
Central Park was like a 20-minute walk over there,
I think it was less than that to
18
get there.
minutes. Times Square was like 3 minutes around the corner.
Yeah.
Empire State Building was like a 15, 20-minute walk.
Yeah, something like that.
And then we got some special thing to get on a boat to go see the Statue of Liberty. And to get to the boat was only what, like another 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
Easy.
Mhm.
That we actually got a deal on
It's
through the hotel.
like it, in order to get like to catch a cab or anything else, you're probably gonna take it probably would have took as much time. The only thing that wasn't the greatest was the heat, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That was the part where like I never wear shorts. I wore shorts the whole time. Like it was hot.
Yeah, but I said, the heat was nice or not nice, but the extra showers were nice.
Yeah.
Because when you're in 3 days, 4 days in New York with an 11-year-old sharing a hotel room, sneaking off into the shower was kind of fun.
Yeah. Had to do something.
But it wasn't that bad. The
Yeah.
heat wasn't that bad.
The AC was cold in the room. That was the good part.
I like it though. I like the heat. You and Cameron are both like mountain cold people.
Well, I like the heat when I'm like by a pool or on a beach.
Hmm.
I like the heat. But when I'm trying to walk somewhere, I don't like the heat. Like that's like my shirt was like
Let's
stuck
talk
to
about my ice cream.
a tantrum.
I threw a temper tantrum in New York
Yeah,
a little bit.
like almost like stomped her feet and screamed.
Like a kid.
Look, for sure.
Like
So we're on the dock to catch a ferry, like or a little boat to go see the Statue of Liberty. And we got some time, so we're wandering around. We go past it, we come back, and there's a little ice cream place. I'm like, I want like I'm burning up. I want something.
It wasn't an ice cream place, it was an ice cream cart.
Yeah, like the little carts. And so we stand there and we stand there and we stand there and we stand there. Finally, somebody shows up. So I buy a couple ice creams and a popsicle. And so I get mine, and mine's good. I'm eating it. She gets hers, opens it, takes a bite, and it was like not frozen. And it just like hits the like falls. And she's like, falls, hits the
No.
concrete, splat, and just everywhere, like nothing. And she's just like, and so I was like, here, have, and she's like, no, I don't even want any right now.
Mac was like, here, you can have some of mine, have some of mine. I was like, no, I don't even want any right now. I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
and I like stomped away. I was like so
So,
upset about my ice cream, but it was really frustrating.
so I
Like,
took her wrapper and like took the wrapper so I could exchange, and like gave her the ice cream. And then she had some of my ice cream, and then we walked in the building and I got some gelato that was nice and frozen.
yeah, your ice cream was frozen. Mine just like it just fell right off the stick, and it was just really frustrating.
The planet at the moment. Standing on the dock, straight sun, no shade, hot, 90 something degrees, high humidity, and just there goes the cool ice cream.
It was like a child, like if you give a child an ice cream cone and they just drop it on the floor, right? Like, and they start screaming and crying, like that's how I felt inside about the ice cream. Like, I was not. That was funny. And then I did get, do you want to share how I got our money back?
No. Yeah. Then we walked back past it, and she's like, hey, my ice cream was frozen and just fell on the ground. So the guy What was it?
No, he's like, did you have and he like named it, and I was like, yes. And he was like, okay, hang on. And he like goes back in his little cart and hands me $10.
Yeah, which I only paid 5 for yours. So guess I got a free ice cream out of the
It
deal.
made me feel a little bit better because I was just like, we waited there for 15 minutes
Mhm.
in the hot sun. We finally get our ice cream, so excited to eat it. Open it, take one bite. And the reason it fell after I took a bite was because there was chocolate holding, like it
Yeah,
was covered in chocolate. The chocolate was okay, but as soon as I took a bite, it was like
yeah, I just cracked the whole thing and hit the splat. So,
everything on the ground. And everyone's like looking at me, and I like look up and I'm like, "Ugh, my ice cream." So
it was kind of funny.
it was good.
So, anything else that we didn't cover for
From New
sure?
York?
Yeah.
Mm, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was just really great. The pizza was good. We have to go try the Joe's Pizza. I think that's what it was called next time.
Yeah,
But
except for I'm ordering, I'm not standing in a 150-foot line.
the pizza was good. Our hotel was good. The company was great. It was super fun. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, having
all
the
for
opportunity.
just all for experience. And so, like, if you're watching this and you're not doing things like this for experience, you got to make time for it. I spent the majority of my life trying to work hard to get to where I could, and wound up in the kind of basically like I wound up in places where things would fail, and then you wind up starting over again. And I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. It's like there's no way. And so now I take the time to find joy and like find happiness and experience and everything else. And guess what? Everything else still works out. So it's a fundamental thing of saying like the more you can do now, don't be irresponsible, but the more you can do to find these experiences or do things and stretch yourself, it just works. Like it always just works. If you look at anybody that just kind of made a decision to do it, and that yet they just keep on doing it and doing it and doing it, it's like, yeah, that could be you too. So if there's somewhere you want to go to have an experience, this man, I really want to go do this thing. I really want to do this, then just go do it. Make it happen. Make the decision. And it's just like there's benefits. And for me, the greatest one will be helping Cameron, right? Like I get the joy of experiencing it myself, but I also get the joy of watching him grow and seeing that, and then the memories with us, like Jen's great about taking a ton of pictures, and so half the
Mhm.
time, like there's times I'll flip back through my phone, I've got like 5,000 pictures in my phone, and I'll be flipping through stuff and be like, oh yeah, we did that, oh there's that, oh that too, and it's just like it's amazing that I mean, it's so easy to forget, but yet there's so much ground we've covered. Like today, we drove up the mountain, went down some crazy ass road that, like I've been on the pickup years and years and years ago, and now it's turned into just like side by side UTV road, and it was rough. It was an all day loop on the mountain, but it was cool. It was good experiences.
But if we're not taking time to enjoy life and have fun, then what are we even doing?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so many of us just are going through the motions and have dreams and hopes and say we want to do certain things, but then we never actually take the action to like make things happen. And next thing you know, you wake up years down the road and look back on life and be like, there was so much I wanted to do that I didn't do.
Yeah,
Or like, I worked so hard for what?
there's like a consequence, right? Um, Having fun, the consequence is you get to have more fun. But if you work hard with the intent to have fun, the consequence is you just work harder.
It was like the thing, Cameron said he really wanted to go to New York. We told him we would go to New York. And all the next thing was get online and find tickets to New York. And so that's what we did. We just got online, found a good deal on some tickets, some plane tickets. And that was like, okay, check. Okay, we're going to New York. Now what? Okay, now next, let's get a hotel, right? We actually found a bundle, but got the hotel and the flight together. And then it was like, okay, and that was what, like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago or something when we bought the flight and the hotel,
I think it was a couple months before.
a couple months before.
Yeah.
And then we knew he wanted to do some certain things that were going to cost some money.
Mhm.
And so Mac got a deal, right?
Mm.
You bought a car and you flipped it and ended up with some
Oh,
cash in your pocket.
yeah,
And
that actually paid for all the
you
stuff.
handed me the cash and you said, hold this till we go to New York.
Yeah, give this back when we get on the plane, basically.
Give it back when we get on the plane. So
Yeah.
we booked the flights, we got the hotel. I ended up with $2,000 cash in my purse. When we got on the plane, I handed it to Mac, and that money then just paid for the trip.
Well,
You handed it to me because you were like, take it so I don't
it,
spend it.
it didn't
I think you said
it
that.
didn't pay for the whole trip. Like, and it didn't really matter. It's just cool though when like I just happened to see a deal. I bought a car for $400. I flipped it for 2,000, and I was like, perfect. This is about what I expect to spend when we go to New York. And I think we wound up around 1,600 bucks or something like that. So perfect. Like that, literally like that one deal probably happened because I made the decision.
Yes.
Because it's like I'm going. And then boom, here it is, dude, next. Not only that, but here's another thing. Like I flip a lot of cars. We I think when we left Wyoming to go to Colorado, right? We left. I had 5 cars out front. 5, maybe no, 6. I had 6 cars for sale. I have 2, basically 2 left at this point. So all that fun, and they've been sitting there. No, they weren't moving, weren't moving, weren't moving. I leave, one sells, another one sells, another one sells. I get back, sold another one. Right? That's how it works. That's like when you're not too caught up in it and you're just living life to live life and you're having fun and finding joy, living on purpose and working hard when you need to work hard. It just works. But you got to make the decision to get out there and just do some cool stuff. Find a way to give yourself an experience, to give your kids an experience, to give your wife or your husband an experience, do things different, mix it up, get a little crazy, make some commitments on like on these days we're gonna do something. Care what it is, but everything else is off limits. We're doing something, things like that. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
So,
when you make a decision, the universe typically lines it up for you,
it provides.
provides, but it's just you got to make the decision. And oftentimes we don't make the decisions because we let fear get in the way, our head get in the way. But if you want to live a life that feels like fun and fully abundant and like all the things, it takes building, almost like building a muscle where you like building up the muscle to listen to what your heart wants to do and to stop listening to the fear and just making a decision and allowing the universe to to lay out the path, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
It
so
mhm.
with that being said, I mean there's 2 things that I'd like everybody to take away from this. One is, well, probably there's more than 2. But for me, a couple of big ones was pay attention to giving your kids or your spouses or whoever experiences things that give their reach, give like extends their reach. And it's these random things. And it doesn't have to be going to New York City. It could be going somewhere they've never been before, going to a different restaurant, taking a drive into the mountains if you've never been there, or into the city if you haven't been there, or if they, if you never rode a bike, you find a way to ride a bike. Just like mix it up because every new experiences it extends reach. And you can do it on a budget, you can do it with a bunch of money, but you want to extend the reach. And the other thing is decide a time that no one else can buy. And so for me, recently, the time is I don't work on Sundays. Right. So you can't buy me on a Sunday. Nobody can pay me anything else. No, you can't buy me. No one can buy that. And because of that, I go to church, and then after church, we go do something. Now it might be a movie, it might be do whatever. But today we drove around in the mountains all day. Did you have fun today?
Me?
Yeah,
Yes.
I had fun today. It cost me about a half a tank of fuel. That was the cost, so it wasn't expensive.
And $26 in snacks.
Yeah, I made my donation to the lodge up on the mountain to hopefully they stay in open.
Yeah.
So yeah, there and so it's like we I got to see some new country I hadn't seen before. Drove down some roads, crazy, rough, like gnarly, like bouncing the truck around type of thing. But it was fun. And sometimes like other weeks we've gone like went and drove through Yellowstone real quick. Which quick for me where we're at right now is pretty, it's not that far. But even in Colorado, there's trips we've taken like up over the Rocky Mountain National Park.
Mm-hmm.
I think like up over the pass where it's like almost 12,000 feet.
Trail Ridge Road,
Yep, that's a good
Grand
one.
Mesa.
Grand Mesa.
We like to drive through the mountains.
Yeah, get up in the mountains. But it would be just as easy to drive down in Denver, go into the city if you like the city,
Mm-hmm.
Or go see a new movie. But don't get too routine in the same thing. Like try to find something different a little bit and experience it with someone is kind of a good thing.
Yeah, so I create an intention always is like I like to make magical moments and memories. And
Yeah.
so I mean, I feel like I'm not doing that just on Sundays. I feel like I'm doing that literally like every moment.
Yeah. And I love that. But
Me too.
but I the
But it takes intention.
yeah, and then just carve out some time that nobody can buy. That's a I mean, I think everybody that should be a fundamental thing, that because once no one can buy it, you'll find things to do because you just won't sit around and be bored. You'll be like, okay, well, I got this time. What are we gonna do? Let's go do something. Make a decision and just go do it. So do that and just stay active and have some fun. And then you want to add.
No, I think that was great.
Yeah. So remember, every Thursday we have a membership call where people get to come in and plug in, and we help them dive deeper, take a next step, move some actions, sometimes even do some energy clearing, trauma clearing, whatever it needs to be. Like if there's a block, we're going to remove it. And it's literally like super cheap coaching, and most of the time, not everybody can always show up. So it's a lot of times it's a small group, and I can actually work on with people one-on-one. So you're all but getting like high level one-on-one coaching for little moments and stuff. And just get on there and plug in. Or if you have a strong success, like you really need to deal with something or do something or achieve something, then you reach out to us one-on-one and we can help. Like Jen's been helping a lot of ladies like on dates, dating stuff, how to manage their relationships and just really get that.
We've been doing a lot too with the ladies on just like getting better at honoring their boundaries.
Yeah. Seeing things in the proper way, and then some of the guys just getting them to get a little more fired up and go kill some shit, get on the hunt and do some stuff that's like, hey, why are you playing small? Let's go big. Let's do some cool shit.
I feel like so many people, so many of us have these desires and these wants and this like hunger for more, like more out of life, more out of our relationships, more out of our more money, more happiness, more joy, more all of that stuff. But when we um try to share the desire for more with the people that we typically surround ourselves with, a lot of times those people will kind of tear down our dreams.
Yeah, they doubt themselves, so then they doubt
They
everything.
kinda tell you, like, you should just be grateful for what you have, or, people like you don't get that, or just whatever, like, they will tear down your dreams. And so one of the things that I'm, like, really loving and seeing with just being in the membership is just, like, consciously putting yourself into a community of people who won't tell you you're crazy,
Mhm.
right? And
Will actually tell you, like, go do it, have fun.
yeah, not just tell you go do it, have fun, and help you to, you know, not to help you to go after what you want, but it's like not only that, but to also give you like tools and strategies and tips to achieve what you want faster. So you can tell all those doubters and haters
Mm.
to, you know.
Yeah, to go, you know, not always.
So it's nice to be surrounded by people that essentially have your back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's things you've been thinking about, things that you want to accomplish, maybe some stuff you even forgot about, that it's time to get off your ass and do something about it. And part of that is when you come into the membership, I start challenging people to say, what do you actually want? Because if you don't have a want, there's no point in you being there because you won't change your beliefs.
Well, it's kinda like Cameron too. It's like when you ask people, "What do you actually want?" Where a lot of us are afraid to say what we want because we don't wanna be told we're crazy, or we don't want to, what for whatever beliefs, right? We're afraid to say what we want.
But I know everybody wants something. It's just a matter of getting them to admit it.
Mhm.
And they've even convinced themselves half the time that no, I just want blah 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 blah, or I just don't want, and they say this stuff, and I gotta like start tearing down the layers and get to it, and then you see the fire start to stir in them. And there's certain things that you might even think you want it, and you feel guilty about wanting it, or well, I can't have that because of blah blah blah. Trust me, there's always a way. Do not let your small mental mind screw you on it. Just come in, work the process, and all of a sudden you'll watch things, the dominoes start to fall one after another.
That boy at the that we saw today, he said to you, Mac, "If there's a will, there's a
Yeah.
way." And I was like, "Yep." That was
Yeah.
really funny.
So with that, I'm going to end it here. You can find, if you need information, you can get hold of Jen on Facebook. And otherwise, hit the like if you're watching this, make a comment or something, share it with someone, get it out there. Just trying to get good information to good people to help move them along, and also share a little bit of experience. So hopefully might inspire you to do the things that you want. So everybody have a wonderful week, and we will see some of you on Thursday and some of you next week.
All right.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.